Good afternoon, buenas tardes, and welcome to today's special council meeting of the City of Moreno Valley and the City Council. Today's date is July 9th. The time is 12 noon. And this meeting, since it's a special meeting, is slightly different to our regular meetings that have a more full and complex agenda. This one's a lot more simple. So just bear with us here. I see a full room here. So as we move through the agenda, we'll make sure to be as respectful to everyone's time as possible. But at this time, I now call the meeting to order, and we'll start off with a roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Present.
Councilmember Vargas is absent. Councilmember Bernard.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Delgado.
Here, ma'am.
And Mayor Cabrera.
Here. And Mr. City Attorney, I was informed that you wanted to share a few things regarding absences from today's meeting.
Absences, yes. First of all, I understand that Councilmember Marquez cannot attend today's meeting because he's had a planned vacation, so he's not in town. So my first recommendation would be to make a motion to excuse him. If that doesn't pass, I just want to state for the record that his absence from this special meeting today is not counted as an unexcused absence under the government code provisions that require that the council members don't miss more than 60 days or 70 days of regular meetings, between the last regular meeting that was scheduled and our next regular scheduled meeting. So bottom line, my recommendation is make a motion to excuse him. If that doesn't pass, that's not going to impact his absences from regular meetings.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. So at this time, I will make a motion to excuse Councilmember Marquez's absence from this special meeting.
And I'll second.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call for a vote.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Councilmember Bernard.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Delgado.
Yes.
And Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. Thank you. That motion passes unanimously, and Councilmember Marquez is officially excused from this meeting. It is now time for public comments on the special meeting agenda item only. And just a quick point of order here. Usually we take council questions prior to public comment. Would it be okay if we do that prior to calling up our public speakers, or is there anything in our rules that requires us to take public comment first?
The Brown Act requires that public comment be allowed at or prior to the time that the item is brought up for consideration by the council.
At or prior to time,
At or
okay.
prior to the time.
So does that mean that, are you saying we have to take public comment at this time? Okay.
Yes, on the only on the item that appears on today's special meeting agenda.
Okay, thank you. So then after public comment, we will take a staff report and then council questions of staff and then council deliberation. Okay, so at this time, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
Yes, we do. We have 33 public speakers.
Okay, so normally, we will allocate 3 minutes per speaker. Seeing as we have a lot of speakers here today, 33 at the moment, if it's okay with the council, I think it might be appropriate to decrease the amount of time per speaker down to 2 minutes per person. So at this time, if there's support for that, I would like to reduce the amount of time per person down to 2 minutes.
I'm good with that.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Okay, so we will reduce the amount of time, 2 minutes per person, and we can go ahead and call up our first 3 speakers.
Okay, I'll call up the first 3 speakers. Alicia Espinosa, followed by Francisco Oreljo, followed by Kayla Booker.
Good morning. We didn't say the Pledge of Allegiance. Is it required for this meeting? So can we say the Pledge of
If we
Allegiance
could
before I
pause the
speak?
clock for just a second. Mr. City Attorney or Madam Clerk, is that something that, again, special meetings are slightly different. Is that something that we should do?
Yeah, actually, the Pledge of Allegiance is not required by state law for meetings.
But do we want to do it?
I think we should do it.
Yeah.
We definitely can, absolutely. Would you like to lead us in the pledge?
No, we'll have you lead the
Okay,
mayor.
I'll lead us in the pledge here today. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay, would everyone please raise our right hands over our hearts. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Espinosa, and
Okay.
please go right ahead and we
Okay.
can start the clock again.
So I'm here today because it's my understanding that there previously was a vote to receive, I believe, 10 or 13 million dollars to help with the homeless moms, homeless children, homeless young adults. And today's meeting is to rescind that vote. I just want to let you guys know that you're turning your back against the moms, the children, and the young adults. So who's ever going to vote yes to rescind this project, just think about the children. You're turning your backs against the children. And we need the money. We need somebody to monitor this program. We need to get the homeless into some kind of shelter. And I hope that this you guys think about what you're doing and don't abandon them. Especially a child's innocence. When you lose your innocence, you lose your soul. You don't want to do that to the kids. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Francisco Orajel, Kayla Booker, and Connie Marbury.
Hi, my name is Francisco Orejel, and I'm here on behalf of FBX Youth and Family Services, and I'm a new mentor for the organization. And I want to just speak about FBX so far, what it has done for me as a person, and I would like to say that as a mentor, they've been providing me with the training necessary and the tools necessary to be successful with mentoring the youth kid in the community. So I'm looking forward, that's something I'm looking forward to it. And I heard about the project they're gonna be doing soon, and I think it's a great thing that they're doing for the community, for the youth, people that might not even have a place to live, and they need this kind of support. And what else better, what place better to do it here in the city of Moreno Valley, which I live in, So with all that being said, I want you to consider that and hopefully vote yes, oppose that reason, and support FBS nonprofit organization, please. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Kayla Booker, Bonnie Marbury, and Anthony Arnica.
Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Booker, and in the past 2 years, I've developed in ways many would have never expected. And I owe that all to SBX. Today, I hold the position as the Black Empowerment Coordinator. I'm able to work with my community members, my youth, to empower them and to even improve quality of life within the African American community within Riverside County. America loves to tell us to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, but how do we do that if we don't even have our straps? That's what we're building today. That's why we're here. Because that youth village is going to be able to develop our youth, our future leaders, city councilmen, even me. If you say no today, this is what you're saying no to. You're saying no to the future youth who look like me, who are trying to break generations of trauma and suffering. You're saying no to giving the youth a safe environment to develop in the Moreno Valley, to develop themselves to become a future me. You're saying no to me. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Connie Marbury, Anthony Arnica, and Shanna Sanchez.
Good afternoon. My name is Connie Marbury, and the reason while I'm here, first let me let you know that I do work for the SBX Youth and Family Services Company as the CFO. And the reason for coming here is because the things that I have seen that this company has assisted in helping the community in is so worthy of the money that the city had decided to give them in building this program that they're building for the youth. I feel that if the city has made a promise, that they should go on and keep that promise, because we have dealt with these items of promises being made and then they are not carried out. So I wouldn't want that to be on this city as far as us trying to assist even what the city of Moreno Valley is trying to do. They are aware of the help that's needed in the community. And for them now to say, hey, we are now thinking about repealing this, it really is a slap in the face. And I just want to give you a fast story on something that took place. I spoke with a young lady concerning her future. And here I am trying to assure her that she has the help. And now I'm not going to tell her that she don't have the help. But if the city is not there to give her that help, that's not going to keep me from giving the help that this youth was asking for. So I would ask and really oppose them repealing what they have stated that this city already needs. It's not just this city, this whole state. And if we can give the help now, why not? If you have the money, go forth. I'm not sure what could pull you from saying, I don't want to help. With that, I say.
The next three speakers are Anthony Arnica, Shanna Sanchez, and Frank Orejel.
Hi, my name is Anthony Arnica and I work with SBX Youth and Family Services. SBX has helped me learn to be a better person. I used to want to fight all the time, and now I process things better. I'm more responsible, and SBX has supported me by teaching me life skills that I will be able to practice in the future.
The next three speakers are Shanna Sanchez, Frank Orejel, and Danielle Johnson.
Good afternoon. My name is Sharina Sanchez, and I have been working for SBX for almost 2 years now. And I can tell you right now that I have never met anyone else that's so passionate about our youth. Sigma wants to make a difference in this community, and this project will definitely be a start to making that a reality. Our young people deserve a chance to be something in this world. Allow us to give them to them. Let's stand up for change, for growth, for opportunities. Let's show them that there's someone out there that cares about them and that they're not forgotten or alone. So now I ask you guys to please oppose to this to make a difference for our youth. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Frank Orejel, Danielle Johnson, and Dahana Lopez.
Timer on? Okay. Thank you. So, hello, my name is Frank Orejel. I've been with SBX Youth and Family Services since December of 2022. I have been a director, coordinator, and outreach specialist within our Breathe IE and SBX Connect programs that help the community with free resources to better control their asthma and to connect them to affordable home internet, to live better lives, and to provide them with more opportunities to succeed. We work tirelessly to fill in social injustice gaps. We at SPX have a responsibility to help the minority community, our community, and the community as a whole. Excuse me, to uplift one another and serve. We have many programs that go hand in hand. It would be disappointing if we could not help the youth and families that need to get off the streets that need us. It would be disappointing if we were not allowed to show love to our community. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Danielle Johnson, Dahana Lopez, and Dulce Lopez Ramirez.
Hello, my name is Danielle Johnson. I am a mentor with XBX Youth and Family Services. I also grew up in this community as well. I am a former foster youth, a single mother who needed help and didn't have resources. When I needed help, it wasn't the city, it wasn't the county, it was never help within the community. Until I enrolled into college at Moreno Valley College and got a job with XBX Youth and Family Services, who helped me tremendously. I overcame homelessness by having the support from the college and XBX. A mother like me with 2 young children that didn't have help was very hard within this community. So if you say no, it would be the worst. We as youth need the help. We need housing, single mothers who don't have any support. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers, Dahana Lopez, Dulce Lopez Ramirez, and David Villa.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diana Lopez. I am 19 years old, and I'm here today to advocate for my community, to advocate for the youth who do not have a place to rest their head, just like I once did. In the year of 2022, I was homeless while living here in the city of Moreno Valley. Due to the pandemic and the case of Child Protective Services, my family was impacted financially, emotionally, and mentally. My mother spent her savings paying for a hotel room for months. And there are so many families here in the city of Moreno Valley going through the same thing. The Moreno Valley youth depends on this housing opportunity. They depend on the city to support them and help them develop them into future professional leaders. SBX has given me the opportunity to get off the streets and make me a future professional leader who now stands here advocating for youth who went through the same things as I did. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are Dulce Lopez Ramirez, David Villa, and Bernice Zuniga.
Hello, my name is Dulce Lopez, and today I want to stand up for youth who suffer. This project is something that will impact and help so many families. I'm here to tell you that I have been there, I have felt hopeless, and I have had to live in hotels. It is something that affects you mentally and emotionally. SBX and other nonprofit organizations are here to help families. When I was feeling so alone, they gave me love and comfort. This project will not only impact people, but our community. It is not fair for youth to pass this opportunity to get help. So instead of rejecting this project, we should be working together to help our community and for the future of youth. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are David Villa, Bernice Zuniga, and Dennis Jones.
Okay, hello. My name is David Villa. For those who do not know, SBX started off at Riacha High School at Sigma Village I, which I was a part of since 2012. XBX have helped me ever since then. When my grandfather passed away, that very same day, brothers from my organization came out and supported me through my hard times. I am now a mentor of XBX. Some may view this as a job, but I don't. I view this as a lifestyle. Helping not just the youth, but the community as a whole. I do not do this for the money. I do this because I enjoy watching the youth progress and change for the better. One of my mentees is a prime example for changing for the better. When I met him, he was viewed as a troublemaker and received poor grades. Now, his grades are C's and B's, and even the principal of the school have noticed a change of his attitude. Another one of my mentees and his families were getting evicted from the house. Immediately, I went to the Rapping Rehouse team for my job, and that same day, I gave them the resources for a better living situation. They're now living in Oregon. For those who are opposing us from helping the community, I would just like to leave off that not only are you opposing us from helping the community, but you are also opposing the youth and the families from getting help and resources that they need for better living situations. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are Bernice Zuniga, Dennis Jones, followed by Russell Schaefer.
First, I want to say good afternoon and thank you so much for having us here today. I haven't formally met you. I am Bernice Zuniga. I am the co-CEO for SBX Youth and Family Services, but that's just a title. Who I am is a sister of the organization who has been raised by Mr. Ronay and the organization that he founded for us in Rialto High School. And that is why I'm here today. I'm not here as a CEO, I'm not here as a nonprofit. I'm here as a community member to show you and bring the people of the community for you guys to understand the impact that this vote could potentially have. In addition, I want to let you know that my heart is to serve the community of Moreno Valley. I have no self-gain, no political interest in that. It's completely pure at its core. And my mission is to make sure that everyone has what they need to survive, and not just to survive, but to thrive, because it's not just about having food and shelter. It's about being the next politician and the next change maker. And that is who I am and what I have come here to do. In saying that, I want to address the housing issue. It's not just about creating shelter for these young people. It's about the experience. And while there's a lot of county support for CalFresh and for temporary housing, there's no other project that allows young people to fully develop and reach their whole autonomy. With that being said, I want to address the biggest issue, the scarcity and inequities, and that is what we are proposing and what we have proposed with this project. It's not just about making the income, it's about sustaining the income. And it's not just about receiving housing, it's about making sure that everyone receives housing. Just in our experience alone, the housing that's out there does not apply to everyone until we came into the scene. So I'm asking you to oppose the resend of this application and allow us to continue to do the work that nobody else is doing. Thank you.
Next three speakers, Dennis Jones, Russell Schaefer, and Kelly Crowfield.
Hello. My name is Dennis Jones. I'm currently a mentor that works for SBX, and I was a mentee myself. SBX showed me that there are people who care and look out for you. As a kid who went through foster care and many trials and tribulations, they helped me mature and learn new things and made me a better man. There are so many youth who need help and who would love to have an opportunity to have a stable home. So please, think about your decision and thank you.
The next three speakers are Russell Schaefer, Kelly Crowfield, and Jessica Balderrama.
Why are we here on a Sunday? I smell a rat. You, Cabrera, have been putting so much emphasis on getting homeless shelters in Moreno Valley. I am opposed to this grant. Where will the money really go? In your pocket and Corey Jackson's? I don't want another San Bernardino here. They have cell phones out there. They call their friends. They're saying, hey, Mo Valley's got this shelter going on. Let's go, you know? And they call their friends. Hey, Mo Val, you know, and they come in droves. And once it's gone, they won't leave. Then you got more burglaries, prostitutions, and drug dealings. Think of your brain instead of your money in your back pocket. Also, Corey Jackson's been investigated by similar issues. He's in the SBX. No politics, no profit. I'm not going to get into that. I'm opposed to this grant. Thank you very much.
The next three speakers are Kelly Crowfield, Jessica Balderrama, followed by Melissa Orejel.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I've been with Sigma since I was a child, or 12 years old to be exact. I've just witnessed so much that these people have done for not only the community, but like just the people that I've grown up around. They've helped my friends and like my family a lot. And it's really just hard to see them like struggling and dealing with this. And I just hope that you guys could like make the right decision and like give us the help that we need. I appreciate it. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Jessica Balderrama, Melissa Orejel, and Bo Hunter.
Hi, my name is Jessica Balderrama. I work at SBX Youth and Family Services. You've heard the stories from our youth, how much of an impact that SBX has for them. This past Wednesday, my 14-year-old cousin, he passed away from fentanyl overdose. If we had, I keep going back and thinking, if we had the resources and given it to him, if he just had a mentor, I wish we could reach out to him and give him those resources and just, what if, and what if, and what if, and what if. I should have connected him with SBX. I should have brought him in. I should have done something because he suffered from homelessness with his mom and his sister. And his mom died 6 months ago, my Thea. And now his sister is left alone at age 22, not knowing where to go or what to do. And that we need the resources for our youth so this does not happen again. I don't want to see another Stephen like that. I don't want to see a kid that has no idea how to handle life. He had a smile on his face every day, A's and B's. When I was cleaning the room the other day, I found a note from his teacher saying, wow, you went from an F to a B, and you're so resilient. You don't know what these youth are going through. And we have the resources. SBX has resources, and we need to grow, and we need to reach out to all of our youth. I don't want to see anybody else have to deal with this. Thank you so much.
The next three speakers are Melissa Orejel, Bo Hunter, and Edward Almedo.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm just going to pray that God helps me and guides my conversation right now because my heart is pumping. When I heard that this was going on Friday, I didn't know what to feel or what to think, but it just kind of sparked something in me because I have never seen our registration forms for mentoring skyrocket the way that they do, to the point that we actually had to close them out. We have about 30 to 40 youth every week showing up to our Saturday programs, which is a harm reduction, and teaches them about gang violence in a way that teaches them about their values and their worth and how to control their anger. We have principals reaching out to us, district attorney reaching out to us, parents, and community members to help youth that are catching felonies before the age of 18 and that are resorting to drugs to cope. This group of young men and women don't think that they are worth anything. They don't think that they have any value. So they really don't care if they're homeless or if they throw away their lives to prison or to drugs. So if you guys rescind this opportunity for us, it really just tells them that they are not worth having somewhere to lay their heads at night, having somewhere to feel safe. So my name is Melissa. I'm a mentor. I'm the director of mentoring, and I started as a mentor here at SBX. I don't just have experience with SBX, but I also got, with the support of SBX, I have my bachelor's degree in sociology, and my research topic is on foster youth and the transition to higher education. And the main barriers to this is their fears of being homeless and not having enough support. So I just ask that you guys think about the bigger picture here and not about our own agendas, but just about the youth that are our future leaders. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Bo Hunter, Edward Almedo, and Julianne Stewart Cleveland.
And I believe it's B. Hunter.
B. Hunter? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Pardon me.
It's okay. Good morning, members of the City Council. I am B. Hunter, the founder of Power Speaks Louder. We service low-income families, the homeless, and youth in crisis. Primarily with our Who Cares We Do street outreach, we go out into the city and we have a direct contact with people on the streets. Just this year, we've served over 1,153 homeless individuals on the streets. 866 of those were male and about 293 were female. There are about 50 kids that we also have come in contact with, which means these are children that are forced to be on the streets. I just want to let it be clear that I strongly advocate against the decision to rescind the Project Home Key application. I don't think we should turn our back on people that are in need. I understand when we apply for things that we may not feel capable, that there are other chain reactions that come along with it, but I believe the people that we serve are very much worth it. Any of us are only one circumstance and one paycheck away and could be in the position of needing the city council to fight for our housing as well, right? Many of us could be in the same position, but sometimes we don't have the sensitivities to understand that we could be the very person that we need to fight for. I also recognize that homeless housing initiatives must work in tandem with the comprehensive placement program. We must address the undenying factors contributing to homelessness and ensure individuals have access to the necessary support services such as mental health resources, job training, and additional recovery programs. It's not enough to provide shelter alone. We must empower individuals with the tools they need to rebuild their lives. Let us be compassionate leaders who make decisions with integrity and prioritize the needs of our homeless community. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Edward Almedo, Julianne Stewart Cleveland, and Philip Rosenberg.
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Pleasure to be here and pleasure to see everyone. My name is Edward Olmedo. I work with SBX Youth and Family Services as their data specialist. And just a little bit of background about myself. I've been with SBX since 2009. And around 2012 is when I had gotten kicked out of my house and I had went into homeless. And the only people that had been there for me and had taken me in was SBX. They have given me the opportunities and the tools to make me the man who I am today, that cares about his community, who wants his community to thrive, and also cares about others now. Before I used to only just care about myself and only myself. But after experiencing things in SBX, I've learned to care more about other people. And so with that being said, with you saying no, you're turning your back on your community, you're turning your back on the youth, and you're also turning your back on your word. Thank you.
Next three speakers are Julianne Stewart, Philip Rosenberg, and Sergio Reese.
Good morning, Julianne Stewart. I am founder of Building Up Lives Foundation. First, I want to say, a Sunday, you guys, the people that are here to have the voice for this are at church. There's a huge chunk that's wrong. I am on the side of our public does not have enough information on this. I'm standing here going, SBX, where is that in here? And everybody's standing for them. I have Philip here, 16 years old, homeless. He's been homeless for 5 months. I took 2 months fighting just to get him into school. Where was SBX? I'm wondering what is going on. I've seen the CFO in our building, but nobody mentioned this. How am I on the ground helping the homeless and I don't have a clue? So wait a minute, we got to clue in. From what I understand, a couple things is the developer is having problems. Is that the issue why we're saying not to go with it? Because I do know that the community wants something to do with homeless. If we say no more homeless and we don't want it in our city because it's a political thing or people don't want homeless, you're going to be deadly wrong in the future. Because, and yes, I get, we build it, they come. They're already here. Ed, when I brought to your attention the woman in the winter, the mom with the newborn baby and the 1-year-old, they're in their car. She came from LA. They're here. We need programs like Step Up that will help and assist the bad behavior, the learned behavior, the mental health, and just problems that they're going through. We can't just house. We need to bring both together. And if we have a problem, if we have a program that the rest of the community doesn't know about and it's not all transparent here, there's a problem deeper than this right now.
The next three speakers are Philip Rosenberg, Sergio Reese, and Azil Zuniga.
Hello, my name is Philip Rosenberg. I am currently a homeless youth in Moreno Valley. I am 16 years old, and I just want to put a voice on behalf of myself and the rest of the homeless youth that may be in this city. I have been through several options to try to help myself. I've been through Safe House, and I've never heard of SBX. And I just want to say the only support I've had from the city is Julianne with Building Up Lives.
I want to add that I'm standing here to support him because he's only 16, you guys. And it's his first time talking. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Sergio Reese, Azel Zuniga, and Greg, I believe it's Damewood.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sergio Reese. I'm here on behalf of SBX Youth and Family Services. I work as a mentor for SBX, and I am a program director. I've been a part of this organization since I was 13 years old at Rialto High School. They have helped develop me, my speaking skills, and I always come around and I say I truly don't know what my life would look like if I had not joined. As a new community member to Rialto, having commuted a lot from Fontana, Colton, San Bernardino, I made a relationship with all of the other members as well as my mentors. I am grateful to have been given the opportunity to work for SBX and mentor and develop our youth in the same manner. I'm here to say that I support SBX and fully support my organization in their mission to serve our youth and families. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Azel Zuniga, Greg Dingwood, Councilmember, and then followed by Councilmember Brian Hawkins.
Hello, my name is Azel Zuniga. I didn't grow up worrying about not knowing what my next meal was going to be or where I was going to lie down to sleep. But because of being part of XBX Youth and Family Services, I know how important it is for organizations like this. I see them have such a positive impact on people who need it. I see them love and support the community, and I am blessed to be here representing them today. We need to address the real issues. What are we going to provide basic needs like housing to everyone? SBX is stepping up to that, and they have stepped up to do other things like mentoring youth services and housing to our people. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Greg Damewood, Councilmember Brian Hawkins, followed by Sammy Luna.
Hi, I'm Greg Damewood. Mr. Mayor, good to see you again. Recently, I just helped with the Mental Health Services Act presentation. If we boil this down to money, as I look up front here, I see In God We Trust, the spiritual commitment to individuals who are living on the street who may become addicted to fentanyl. We're passing out packets now, Narcan nasal spray, to almost everybody that's involved with mental health services. If this helps in any way to help prevent overdosing, addiction to drugs, getting people off the street, then it's a good thing. Let's go for the money. People understand money. I understand there's $736 million. Why didn't we ask for twice as much? Right now, realignment for the county of Riverside is way out of proportion. We get very little of the money that we're supposed to get if you look at realignment. I would ask you all to consider your mother, your father, your sons, your daughters, anybody that could become homeless. Once a person is out on the street, think of yourself in 30 to 60 days. Might you be using a drug? Might you be influenced? Might you be defecating, urinating in the street? Any way we can keep people off the street is a good thing. And as far as being NIMBY, not in my backyard, let's think about that too. $10 million is $10 million. And again, we should have asked for more. I ask you to consider why we would turn down money to assist. I haven't heard any negative things about this company. I don't know a lot about this company, I'll be honest, but you didn't present anything as to why you're opposing $10 million for my community. I've lived here since 1986. I love to serve. I'm a commissioner for the county. I'm not representing them today because I didn't get to contact them. I believe with the Lanterman Act this was really kind of stretching it for a Sunday too. And I appreciate you all coming out today. In God we do trust. Thank you.
Next three speakers are Councilmember Brian Hawkins, Sammy Luna, followed by Larry Butler.
First of all, good morning. So I'm gonna just be honest and address the reason why we're really here. It's because SBX hired me, and I had been working with SBX for less than a month. And this week, the Riverside County Sheriff's Department came to my parents' home in unmarked cars after I had called the Sheriff's Department 5 times prior to this. These are the things that you won't hear in the media. That when they came in unmarked cars with their guns drawn on me on false allegations that not even the district attorney filed Thursday morning. So let's just be honest. At the end of the day, if we're going to bring SBX in the room and say, hey, they hired an ex-felon, well, maybe you guys might want to do your research, because I was also hired for the San Jacinto Unified School District as well. So if I can work in the school district, if I can work around children with my background and my record, then what was the problem of me working for SBX? And this is the reason why this is brought up, because it is becoming political. You know, last year when I was a registered Republican, when I did Sheriff Chad Bianco's swear-in ceremony, I'm the one that did his invocation. You know, when I received 70,000 votes as a registered Republican, nobody had a problem with Brian Hawkins' criminal record. But the moment I start fighting for minorities, the moment I start speaking up, the moment I left the Republican Party and start chasing values of speaking up for people, it became an issue. It became a target on my back. They're not going to tell you that they came to my parents' home on Hibiscus Lane to assassinate me, my character. What they're not going to tell you is that I had my 5-year-old daughter there with me at the same time. There's a lot of stuff that they want to leave out of the media, but at the end of the day, this shouldn't have anything to do with the work that they're doing. I didn't come here on the behalf of SBX. I didn't come here on behalf of the city of San Jacinto. I came here on behalf of the truth. There's a lot of injustice going on, and don't make this group or the homeless in this community suffer.
The next three speakers are Sammy Luna, Larry Butler, and Kahari Bryant.
Good afternoon. Didn't expect to be here on a Sunday afternoon, but I am here because you know I care about my community. My name is Sammy Luna, Riverside resident. Ed Delgado, you're my council member. Thank you, appreciate you all serving, appreciate everyone showing up here today. But I don't understand why, just as you know the previous speakers said, why would we oppose $10 million? It does sound like it's very political, and I'm very disappointed to hear that that anybody would want to not take this money to help our youth. It's very clear that SBX is doing great work in our community. All the youth here that have been speaking, so happy to hear from you guys. I need to get out in the community more and learn more about what SBX does, because it sounds like a great program. But the youth are our future, and we definitely need to ensure that the mental health of our youth and of our residents of Moreno Valley, that it's intact. We all live here. We want to make it the best place possible. Homelessness is not going away. We have to address it. Other communities, as I've mentioned before in previous meetings, City of Riverside has employees dedicated to helping the homeless, and we don't have that here. So we need to continue to work for the betterment of our community and the betterment of humanity, because we're all we got. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Larry Butler, Kahari Bryant, and Jaskia Bridges.
Good afternoon, everybody. My heart is broken right now. My got tears in my eyes for the last few days. And it's not because I'm weak. It's not because I'm timid. It's because I'm broken. I'm broken. My heart is heavy. I also have a similar background as Congressman Brian Harkins, right? And with the help of XBX, only XBX, right, I was able to evolve and be a productive citizen. I'm a business owner, I'm a single father of 5, I'm productive in my community. And it's really sad when you pull up to a gas station. I clean for a living, right? I'm Butler Cleaning Services. I clean for a living, and I'm pulling up to the gas station wee hours of the night, and I'm seeing individuals parked in their cars sleep. This stuff is real. Like people, and then when I see them, I knock on their window to see if they need help or assistance, and it's a young face. It's like a face like 21, 18. I'm like, wow, what are you doing with your parents? Like, Mom, I don't know my parents. I'm homeless. Right? These stories are real, y'all. XBX Youth and Family Services is on the front line with other organizations. Right? So please think constantly, right? And for the individual that say he never heard of XBX, I'm Larry Butler, bro. I'll talk to you myself, and we'll get you any help you want, bro. Real talk. If you ain't heard of it before then, now you have. And we here. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are Kahari Bryant, Jaskia Bridges, and Carolyn Bryant.
Hello, I'm Kahari Love Bryant, and I know what it's like to feel homeless, to be homeless. I've watched my parents struggle. Me and my cousin and both of our families have lived in hotels for 6 months with no support. Therefore, I support this project.
My name is Josiah Bridges, and I support this project.
My name is Carolyn Bryant. I'm the mother of Larry Butler. Those are my grandchildren. My son did 14 years in prison. Okay, he left me at the age of 18 behind some false allegations. And because he was the oldest out of the other youngest kids, they took my child away from me. And when Larry did that 18 years and he came home, he lost his daughter at 11 years old. She passed away, died in our home. And my son, when he got in this program, he just changed. He changed. He just told you for himself. You know, he a businessman. He doing he just helping the community. I'm so proud of him. If he ain't in a meeting in Hemet, he's one in Riverside. Now I'm here in Moreno Valley. I'm so proud of my son. And this program that he's working with, I'm telling you, I'm a security officer, and I work graveyard. And my job is to work for the Riverside County courts and keep the homeless, push them away. You know, don't feed them, just make them go, make them leave. And it hurts me to my heart when I have to run these people away. You know, and that's my job. You know, they have these little animals coming out there from under the sewers, and they put food and water out there for them, but they won't want me to feed the homeless. You know, so it hurts me. Like my son says, grieving him is grieving me, because my heart is for the homeless. And this program, I feel, is necessary. It's very necessary, okay? Please don't turn your back on them. And young man, like my son said, that program is there. All you have to do is reach out to them, and they'll come for you, okay? And they'll give you all the help that you need. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are Seth Cox, Daryl Peden, and Donovan Sadiq.
Good afternoon. I'm Seth Cox. Most of you know me. I'm not here to really defend the homeless or whatever. I'm going to give you guys the benefit of the doubt that you don't have a blind eye to our issue in the city of Moreno Valley for homelessness, unhoused, underprivileged, whatever name you want to put on them, we have an issue. My question is, how did we get here today? Okay? Do we have a flaw in the process where the city submits the proposal to the council to vote on? You voted on this on June the 20th, and you passed the resolution, or whatever it's called, to team with some other organization to apply for the grant money. Is that correct? You don't have to answer it, but that's true. It's on the books. But yet here we are 10 business days away from filing the paperwork, and you want to rescind that and take away the eligibility to even apply for the $10 million, unless you have somebody else in the wings that can sign up for it to be our partner and meet that deadline. To me, I believe that's the issue here of the reason we're here. You're in a contract issue with that party. You don't either want to do business with them or some other issue has come up with them. That should be a legal issue that you're paying the attorney over there, our interim attorney, that you're paying his company over $1 million a year to look out for our ass, okay? Some way we got in this predicament because somebody didn't follow the rules or didn't do the due diligence before you voted on it on June the 20th. With that said, I'll give way. Thanks.
The next three speakers are Daryl Peden, Donovan Sadiq, and Crystal Dominguez.
Honorary Mayor, City Council, it's a pleasure to be here. Let me just go ahead and set it up. I'm the co-CEO of SBX Youth and Family Services, also one of the founders of this organization. We entered into an RFP, came out for the home key application. SBX we said, okay, we'll go for this. We put together an application for the RFP to partner with the city to submit an application to the state for home key funds, which will fund $10 million coming to this community to help with youth, transitional age youth, and families with children that are struggling, that are homeless. We already have a shovel-ready project. We have already, a couple years ago, we committed, SBX has committed to solving this youth homelessness issue in the city of Moreno Valley. We already have partnerships with the County of Riverside. We have a project that's funded at $4 million with ARPA funding. We already have the property acquired. We have 3 homes currently going through planning with the City of Moreno Valley to renovate, and we will be housing youth and families struggling starting early next year. So we were there. We were there when the city needed an applicant for the ARPA for the home key applicant. We're there. We're going for the last 3 weeks. My staff, our folks, and the city, we've been working extremely hard together to put together this application for the state to bring these funds in to build the next phase of our current project. This is a viable project to bring funds into this community. So everything on the table, this makes complete sense. This is the city saying, or the council saying, put pauses on this. We don't want to do business with SBX because we don't like Corey Jackson. And let me say this, Corey he was the CEO of SBX. He's not the CEO anymore. Daryl Peden is the CEO, and Bernice Zunica, and all these staff here, we are doing good work in the community. Don't politicize young people. Don't play politics with.
Thank you.
The next 3 speakers are Donovan Sadiq, Crystal Dominguez, and Pepe Jackson.
All right, good afternoon, Council. Donovan Sadiq, come from the Edgemont area. Staff that is here. I wish I could be somewhere else myself, but I got to be here. Okay, as you guys know, I don't think, no adult in this room is against the youth. I've been here since 1977. I've been fighting for a youth center since 1977. I wish some of you young people, as much as you've come out in droves now, would come out when I'm fighting for a youth center. That would help the situation, okay? But let's talk about this since I'm talking about the youth, and believe it or not, at one time I was young. It's about accountability. I do not understand in the back of my mind how we could have youth running around homeless and the parents aren't being held responsible. All I know is I have 2 children, and as they're minors, I'm held responsible for whatever they do. So we know those issues. Nobody is against what is best for our youth and to make them better people and productive citizens and put into that social security that might not be there when you guys get eligible. But anyway, I agree with Seth Cox, Greg Damond, I hope I said that right, and Sammy Luna. I mean, they're saying all the right things. You guys have voted on this project, and one way or the other, I don't know if people are being confused or inflated, if this is an ego thing, it's Corey Jackson thing or whatever. Whatever the issue is, Your decision should be based on what is best for the youth at the end of the day, okay? We don't have a youth center here. I've been fighting for years. 30-something years I've been fighting by myself. That's what you guys have to decide, okay? That's gonna be a hard thing. So let's do the right thing in regards to what our kids can do.
The next three speakers are Crystal Dominguez, Pepe Jackson, and Martin Cabrera.
Hi, my name is Crystal, and I've been working as a community health worker for SBX Youth and Family Services for 1 year. In my line of work, I've witnessed some horrible living situations. One in particular was here in Moreno Valley. She was someone that had just left a domestic violence relationship, but she was living in a home that was full of mold. She had explained to me that she exhausted all programs that were given to her as a domestic violence victim, and she had 2 youth with her as well. Her son gets sick every single time he comes home because the room is filled with so much mold. She has nowhere to turn to and no family or friends around her. Unfortunately, she struggled to find employment due to her pending green card application. She is one of the underserved families with 2 children who would greatly benefit from a youth village. As myself, I came to Sigma without a clear purpose in life. I was working as a waitress earning $15 an hour a year ago while raising 4 children. Sigma provided me with a second chance where I discovered my true passion and ability to make a real change in life, in people's lives, and with people that are struggling like the homeless, especially here in the city of Moreno Valley. Ending partnerships or withholding resources from the people of Moreno Valley would be a disservice to the communities that often don't know where to turn for help. Thank you, please. Oh, sorry. That's it. Sorry. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Pepe Jackson, Martin Cabrera, and Genevieve Alleman.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Pepe Jackson. I'm the president of the Riverside County Black Chamber of Commerce. And we've worked very closely with SBX for over a decade. And this is the SBX is a premier organization that has helped a lot of people. You've seen young people come up and talk about the effects that the organization has had on their life. You've seen people that have come out of prison that have been affected in a positive way about what SBX is doing. I think somewhat it's kind of like an alternate universe. Here we are, we have enough people that's already spoke about how effective SBX is. I don't think that's a question anymore. I think that what we need to do is find out how we can expand the opportunity for SBX. I think the conversation should be, how do we get more money for SBX? SBX has been doing a phenomenal job. You guys have entered into an agreement. I don't know what the second thoughts are, but of course, you cannot pull up another organization that has done the similar work that SBX has done and get a room full of people that come up and support and say, this organization has changed my life. If it's about the organization, you have the proof of concept right here. I don't think you need any more than that. Thank you.
The next three speakers, Martin Cabrera, followed by Genevieve Alleman, followed by Rosa Bravo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Mr. Mayor, for the good job. You're always following the youth. That's great. And I really appreciate that you guys sitting over next to you appreciate what he's doing. Personally, and the community is talking already. It's expressing themselves, their needs. That's why you guys been selected to be there, to look after these people, to look after the youth. You know why a criminal is as a criminal now? Because they didn't have the support that needed on time. On time, not in 2 days. Their time is only 1 day. If we don't put attention this day, we're gonna be suffering more of the crime, more of the homeless that we regret, that we been creating. We responsible, we the people, we the ones know. They just don't know much about experience. I experienced homeless too, all right? Looking for a better choices. So let's give the people the choice they want. They're asking, you guys been selected for serving, not just for the political stuff. Thank you so much.
The next three speakers are Genevieve Alleman, Rosa Bravo, and Stephanie Bruce.
First off, I just want to lead us in a quick prayer. It is indeed Sunday. God, I ask you to ease the tension in this room. I ask you to grace this room with your love and grace and to continue to guide our council in making their decisions with love and with your word in their minds. Allow us to love thy neighbor, to allow our hearts to be filled with empathy, and to take care of not only of ourselves, but also each other and our community that needs it the most. When it comes to any difficult situation, I've learned to stay neutral and to look to God for guidance. He's taught me to understand both sides and to listen to each side. I think we tend to block off our hearing when it's a perspective we don't want to agree with. I ask us all today to be open-minded, to hear each other out, to be respectful, and to realize we all need to be working together in order to create a better place for us all to live. Moreno Valley's unhoused situation is not as crucial as our surrounding cities. You guys have the power to be the group of people that can put a cork before the flood happens. If we don't agree with one another, that is completely normal. We are humans, we have different backgrounds, mentalities, and morals. When it comes to the situation, I understand why one may feel skeptical. If that's the case, what is your solution? You may reject, but what is your alternate option to get this done in time? You see all these people who have gathered here to advocate on this organization. They speak with love, with passion, and with hope for the future. This is evident proof that this organization is powerful and needs you to have faith in them as well. I was just in LA the other day. I saw dozens of young children and teenagers that are homeless amongst their families. It's generational. I pray that every single one of you realize that you can be the group of people that put their differences aside and work together in order to create a better Moreno Valley. Be the people that uplifted their unhoused and took care of them, not turn away from them. Thank you.
The next two speakers are Rosa Bravo and Stephanie Bruce.
Hi, good afternoon, my council members. So I'm just here, wondering what is it more that is expected of us as nonprofits? What more proof do we need to show you? What more groundwork? What more footwork? We dedicate our lives. We dedicate our personal lives. We dedicate our time away from our families. There's those that don't understand us, and there's people that do understand us, but at the end of the day, we have people within our city still fighting us, against us. If you don't like it, do something with us. Don't just talk about us either. Therefore, I ask, what's going on? We've done the work. We've given you the data. What more do you need? There are youth here. We have children ourselves. How do you think we feel having to turn around at the end of the day and still go home to our homes, leaving those children behind? So, please think about it. I know you have children. I know you have grandchildren. I know you all have families. So please think about your own families being in these situations. Thank you.
The last speaker is Stephanie Bruce.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Stephanie Bruce, and I'm Executive Director of Black Voices of the Valley. And I came in contact with SBX probably about 2 years ago and started seeing the wonderful things they're doing for our youth in the community. As a nonprofit organizer, we get a lot of calls for homeless and people in the communities. But it hits different when you see these individuals are under 18 years old. It hits different when they don't have any guidance. There's no parents around. It hits different when you see them sick or ill and they have nowhere to go to. SBX has been providing a way for these children to survive, not only to survive, but to be successful. It's a beautiful thing right now in this room, seeing all these people coming with their great stories. I'm gonna ask you to continue to support these individuals. It's astonishing every day when we see homeless people. I have a business where I see people outside sleeping. And it bothers me sometimes when I have to ask them to move. But if they have nowhere to go, it's pretty difficult to ask them to move because all they're gonna do is go to somewhere else. If we don't give them the resource in order for them to be successful, then we're doing them a disservice. So I am for SBX. Thank you.
There's one final speaker, Mayor Bob Palomares.
As Sadiq had said, there isn't one adult in this room that's against helping people. The thing is accountability. You know, there was no discussion regarding this. Since 2015, California has spent $20 billion on homelessness. Where is it? We could have given everybody $1 million, all the homeless, and it would have been done. So, in saying that, I think we owe it to the taxpayer to bring this back, and not, they're going to get their nonprofit. We just want to know where the tax dollar is going, how it's being spent. Are we getting pennies on the dollar for the person that it's intended, and the rest goes to administration? That's what I want to know. Not, you know, I know all their stories they said. I've heard them. Hey, I come from East LA. I know what you're talking about. But as a taxpayer, and to the rest of the taxpayers, let us know what's going on with the finances. That's what I want to know. Thank you.
Two final speakers, Roy Bleckard, followed by Luis Palomares.
I pray we could be doing something else on a noon Sunday except being here discussing this, which we should not be doing. But I will say to you, if I offered you $10 million to pass out crack, cocaine, and fentanyl, would you take it? This policy has gotten us to here. I have been in this community. This is my native land. I've been here for 7 decades. We did not have this problem. If you want to solve this problem, let's just go back to what works. This home key, what do we, $30 billion, and it has made the problem 10,000 times worse. If you want solutions, and everybody in this audience and everybody here wants solutions, let's talk about real solutions at work. Prop 63, $29 billion in 18 years has went down the toilet. They said in 2004, this problem, homelessness and mental illness, was going to be gone. Again, it's 10,000 times worse. Where was the SBX name in the item A28 you had last week? It says inflection point. One person came up here. One person said, do not pass this. As the previous speaker said, there's a failure across the board, but you all were warned, and I don't hear an explanation of why. Why we're sitting here. We all talk about transparency. It never happens. That's why this should be rescinded, mainly because you didn't follow your procedure, staff didn't do their job. For you SBXers, there's one cat in this room that said to the crime syndicate, elect Darrell Peden as the school board president. It wasn't any of you. Isn't that right?
The final speaker is Luis Palomares.
Cabrera, his campaign promises, he had him here during the campaign, a lot of Luna, Rosie, and all the gals and guys. Wow, it's another campaign problem. I'm all for what they're talking about, and I'm glad for the success stories. It's not about that. It's about the swamp, the Corey Jackson swamp. First, he was taking a lot of money from the school district and helped a handful of people and gave himself a lot of administration fees. How much money? $9 for me and $1 for you? That's what I'm worried about. Where are our tax dollars going? I'm not against all these success stories and all the things that happen. Great. I've had homeless people in my house. All you speakers, open up your doors. I challenge you. We got only 78 homeless people in our community that were coming from other communities that they dumped there. Well, open up your doors. I talked to a lady earlier. She goes, well, you do it. I challenge her. I challenge everybody. Luna, the Rosie girl, all of you people, the pastor over here. Open up your doors. No, you want to get I did too, and I keep on doing it, you know, and they want the funding, but what are they really giving it? Build 2-3 homes? How many people are in this home? The lady said 24. It's not good enough. How much money did we give that? K, whatever it's called, BG or X, whatever. Corey Jackson. Oh, he's not the president. Oh, this guy is. The Pedans, he took it over. Because isn't Corey Jackson, I could be wrong, being investigated for that? What are we doing here? You know, we're in the swamp here. You know, our mayor wants, you know, homeless shelters, yeah, et cetera, et cetera. Swamp means, oh, I mean, we're deteriorating the life here of the Moreno Valley taxpayer and the homeowner here. Our houses are worth $500,000 and up now. I tell people don't even come and buy here no more. We're going to be in the next San Bernardino. It's a lot of people are going to move out of here and go, but we got to stay here. We got to stay here, and it's sad. We have to be here talking about this.
Thank you, Ms. Palomares.
That concludes public comment, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So we will go ahead and move on from public comment, and we will close the public comment period. That brings us next to the agenda item itself, which is to consider repeal of City Council Resolution number 2023-53, authorizing the joint application with Inflection Point Design and Development Group, LLC, regarding home key program application and participation, and deauthorizing Assistant City Manager, Chief Financial Officer's execution of related application, MOU, and any home key documents on behalf of the City of Moreno Valley for participation in the home key program. So first, we will start with the staff report from our Assistant City Manager and Chief Financial Officer, Brian Mohan.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. The item before you is exactly as you read it. What I'm going to do is go back a bit in history and how we got to the June 20th meeting and possibly why we are here. So as of March 29th, 2023, HCD, which is the state's Housing and Community Development Department, announced a notice of funding availability for HomeKey, which was roughly $736 million from the state that would go to sustain and rapidly expand the inventory of housing for people experiencing homelessness in various jurisdictions going up and down the state. On 5/22/23 through June 5th of 2023, an RFP was released and open to find projects or partners that meet the specific and very restrictive requirements outlined by HCD. Again, I have to add that it is very, very restrictive, and as we've gotten further into this, working with the approved bidder, it has been challenging. At this point, 2 bids were received as of June 5th. One was not responsive as they submitted a request to basically use vacant city land. And unfortunately, I can't allow that because it is for a future fire station. So therefore, that one was deemed non-responsive. Inflection Point was deemed responsive and was brought to council on June 20th. If you recall, June 20th was the meeting right before council started their summer recess. We had roughly about 34 items on that particular agenda, 13 to 14 of which were mine. So I had roughly about 40% of that particular agenda. As we were preparing the resolution, staff report was already done. We were preparing the resolution. It came to my attention that Inflection Point Development was actually SBX. I included it in the resolution. So as record reflects, resolution number 2023-53 does have SBX in parentheses after the Inflection Point Design and Development Group, LLC. Unfortunately, I did not also put that in the staff report as it was already completed and had already been approved. So everybody's talking about transparency and Roy Bleckert mentions staff and so forth. So I take full responsibility for not getting SBX as part of the staff report, but it was inclusive of the resolution. The resolution merely states that we could file an application up to $10 million. Grant funds, and I want to make this clear, just because a jurisdiction has a resolution to apply for a grant doesn't mean that we're already going to get the money. And quite frankly, because the city only has 77 homeless based on the continuum of care count from San Bernardino County as required by HUD, we have never gotten any homeless money because of that. And the granting agencies do tell us that it is because we do not have that many homeless on that count. Also, when it comes down to youth, if you recall in my February study session, the McKinley-Vento Act is the HUD requirement for youth counts, and it is the jurisdiction of our school districts related to youth count and not the city. So that's why youth counts do not count against the city. They are not part of the city count. But because this was a viable option, the project was piggybacking off of what has been identified as first phase, $4 million from the county. And this was going to be a second phase to continue the expansion of what is being touted as a youth village. But in essence, this would be a youth shelter along with supportive services. The granting agency, come to find out, does have some requirements that occur, that must occur past the deadline of the grant. And so those are some of the challenging things when Mr. Peden had been mentioning that we were working with him and his group. I will say that we've put a lot of time in this particular grant, and staff time, consultants time, with that, I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much, Brian. And at this time, if any council members have any questions, please hit your speaker button and I'll make sure to call on you. I do have some questions that I would like to start off with. Number one, for staff, which council member or council members called for this meeting today?
Based on the city clerk's polling of council, it was D1, D2, and D4 that called this particular meeting.
Okay.
And that is public record.
And it's my understanding that Councilmember Delgado and Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz were the ones who initiated having this meeting in the first place. Is that correct?
Yes, I had a conversation with both on Friday morning.
Okay. And I did, just for public's information, I did ask you, but if you could share the answer with the public as well. Because I received a call on Friday afternoon from the clerk, from our city clerk, telling me that we were going to have a special meeting. And I was surprised because, number one, the mayor of the city is being told that we're having a special meeting. It wasn't, hey, mayor, a council member has requested a special meeting. This is what they want to talk about. Do you support it or not? That would have been appropriate. What I was told was, mayor, we're going to have a special meeting on Sunday. And I threw my hands up and said, what's going on here? So I started the past 2 days. I've been nonstop thinking about this, researching it, asking questions, and doing my due diligence. So number one, that is a problem, the process of how we got here today. We should not be here today. We should not be in this room right now having this conversation. It's a disservice to our residents, to the community, to our staff. Our city manager is out of the state. Our council member is not here right now. We should not be doing this. And I have many other reasons why we shouldn't be doing this. People are supposed to be with family. People are worshiping right now, and we're having this discussion. And so it really doesn't matter who the applicant is, whether it's Inflection Point or SBX or any other affordable housing developer. There was a transparent and open process that we went through. We issued an RFP, multiple organizations applied, and even prior to getting to the RFP process, and Brian, feel free to chime in here if you'd like, even prior to us moving into an RFP, we had a couple of parties that were interested and potentially hotels that were looking at applying for HomeKey. Those fell through, which brought us to the RFP. So staff has been working on this for a long time, for months. And Inflection Point / SBX was the organization that made it through the process. Again, it was open and transparent, and anyone could apply. The council in June unanimously approved that. All 5 of us voted yes to award this, to work with Inflection Point and move forward with submitting the application, which the deadline is coming up in about 2 weeks. Home Key has been around for years now. Funding, a lot of funding, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars available to cities. And I have tried for years, back when I was just a council member, I've tried for years to get this council and this city to apply for Home Key. And because of political nonsense and division, it has prevented us from even trying. And it took everything in me to maintain my composure here today. And because my blood was boiling at the fact that we're having this conversation. And I'm extremely disappointed. And on a Sunday, we never have these meetings on a Sunday, 2 days notice. The public perception, definitely for me, is 2 council members on here didn't want public input. They wanted to try to do this in darkness and in the shadows and try to get this under the rug, behind closed doors, to get their personal agenda approved here today. And this is proof that that is not going to happen ever again in this city moving forward. I'm not going to stand for that.
Can we get back on track and just get to the facts of what we're getting to?
I have more to say, yes, Councilmember, and each of us will have an opportunity to deliberate as well.
I understand, but I would like us to stay to the facts of because what's going on here is this is all playing out, and I've explained this before. I would like to stick to the facts of why we're here, why they're requesting for it to be rescinded, which is why I agreed to the meeting. I want to continue to interact with city staff to figure out exactly what the issue is. And I cannot get to the issue if we are sitting up here and we're personal attacking. I want us to get back to it.
Let me continue on with my deliberation. I hear your concerns, but we will all have an opportunity to speak. So I'm sharing my truth, and this is my moment to speak as well.
Councilmember?
We're not on deliberations, we're on questions for staff.
Yes.
Can we
Okay,
hear
so
what the process is to call a special meeting?
So, okay. Let's pause for 1 second. We are still on council questions, so I will pause my deliberation, my comments, and open it up to questions from the rest of the council as well. So I'm so into this and so upset that I have to speak from my heart. So I do have some requests here from the council. I have 1 hand raised for council questions, and I have Councilmember Delgado.
Thank you. Brian, does the actual staff report list, the staff report list a co-applicant?
It lists in the recommendations specifically approved resolution of the City of Moreno Valley authorizing the joint application with Inflection Point Design and Development Group LLC to and participate in the Home Key program.
Why does not it say SBX anywhere in the staff report?
Again,
because down below in the resolution, it has them as a co-applicant.
Yes. So I go back to my comment that I had about 40% of that agenda that night. As we lead up to summer recess, we do pull a lot of staff reports forward. I was inundated with the various staff reports that were going forward. Typically, a staff report is written, and then any subsequent attachments and so forth are finalized right before the meeting. I made the adjustment to the resolution to include SBX in parentheses after the LLC, and I failed to put it in the staff report.
What is the relationship between Inflection Point Design and SBX?
I would say that
your knowledge.
Inflection Point Design is a development group that is assisting SBX with the youth village.
So who would be getting the grant? Inflection Point Development or Design?
It would, in essence, because the resolution has SBX in it, it would be a group MOU agreement, and they would be the co-applicant together.
So that brings me back to my original point, is that's that important that the applicants, plural, which apparently it's Inflection Point and SBX, are not in the staff report. I have a feeling of, I know why, but I wanted to hear it from city staff that it's literally not in the staff report. You go down to the resolution, and there's a blurb that it's there, and it's barely there, and then we move on. So that's my concern. Thank you for clarifying that. Can you explain the city's role in a grant like this?
So in this particular grant, the way it was authorized by council is the city would have no authority to spend any money related to this particular grant, other than staff time creating the partnership and the consulting time to try and make the application as successful as possible. But upon awarding the grant, the award would be brought back to council, and council would then accept the award, and we would move forward with finalizing all of the various agreements and so forth. And in essence, this would be a pass-through funding to what we call community-based organizations. So there would be no $10 million that was authorized by the city itself. There would be no additional funding that I have authority to appropriate or expend, other than trying to get the grant application effectuated and completed.
In your experience with grants and the city of Moreno Valley, or whatever city you may have worked for in the past, when you collaborate with an organization in whatever city you're working for, say we're Moreno Valley, anything that LLC does or doesn't do, does that reflect on our city? Because we went into this agreement together?
In the 24 years of my experience in municipal governance, although it does impact what either side of any agreement is doing at any given time, it typically, for staff and the actual grant itself, doesn't mean too much, but it is potentially a political fallout for any given side when it comes to politics, which I try and remove staff, including me, as much as possible out of that particular conversation, because my fiduciary commitment is not necessarily to you as a board, but it's more importantly to the residents. And so as CFO and city treasurer, I have to ensure that I'm looking at that part of the equation and not necessarily the political fallout for any one of you.
That's fine as far as the political fallout, as far as what you're thinking, your thought process for that. What about legal ramifications?
In some instances, and I won't go back to the cities I used to work in or any particular grants, cities have fallen into legal questions, concerns, challenges when any partner or vendor has legal issues on any given side. And it goes both ways. And unfortunately, California is a very litigious state, and anybody can sue for any particular reason. But it would hold true for any of our vendors, any of our partners, and that's why when vendors are on site, I have to have additional insurances and so forth to ensure that if something was to happen and they act or behaved in a manner that wasn't consistent with the agreement, contract, or our ethics, that I have some type of legal ramification that I can go in and either be able to receive some type of benefit and or discontinue that relationship, and or that particular employee would be let go.
and you say I as representing the city, whichever city it is that applied and went into an agreement or relationship with us, right? This
Yes,
entity.
I also act as the city's risk manager at this particular point in time because I'm also the HR director.
So it'd be fair to say that you have to look out for the city as well.
I have the city's best interest in heart. Maybe that doesn't align with all of your best interests, but from a resident perspective, I have their best interest at heart.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Brian, thank you.
Next, we have Councilmember Bernard.
Okay, so my question is more aligning with, this is just us putting together the application for a grant, correct?
Yes, it is.
This is not that we've been awarded a grant yet, correct?
Not at all.
Since home key funds have been available in the state of California, has the city of Moreno Valley ever applied for a home key grant?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. We are not being asked to put any money in outside of staff assisting with getting the grant application together on the city staff side with the group, correct?
As approved in June 20th, there was no authorization for additional funding of any sort other than putting the grant together.
Okay. Are you able to recall the actual requirements to be able to apply for the grant?
Yes, I'm fairly aware of the requirements.
Can you give us just the basic requirements for us to be able to apply for this grant? And I'm sorry, Brian, I know.
So
May be repetitive, but
yeah,
I want
no,
to make sure.
that's fine. Thank you, Councilmember. So basically, any local jurisdiction, a municipality is a qualifying jurisdiction, can submit an application. As part of some of the grant guidelines that are required we could submit a single application by ourselves. We can partner with community-based organizations. We can collaborate with more partners. We have learned that when it comes to homelessness funding that has been part of the pandemic, that sometimes partnering with a multitude of partners actually gives us more points. And because what I alluded to earlier about the number of homeless per our continuum of care, San Bernardino or Riverside County count, sometimes we need those points in order to be successful. This particular grant that we are putting together was required either homeless shelters, acquisition of vacant property, programming of services related to homelessness or supportive services for homelessness with youth or adult. And so this met that particular requirement.
And as you've previously discussed, there is no guarantee that we would be awarded this grant.
There is no guarantee, and quite frankly, we need to actually get to the finish line for the actual grant application. Currently, last week, there are certain areas, whether it be pre-development cost or capital funding matches or operating or programming subsidies required that may not even allow us to get to the finish line with the grant.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilmember Santa Cruz.
With the pre-development, the pre-award funds, are all of those already gathered? Is there a joint applicant money coming from the county that's coming around? $4 million funded by ARPA. Has that already been committed?
So my understanding about the $4 million or 3.7 or whatever the number is, the $4 million was previously approved by the Board of Supervisors as part of the ARPA funding. It came from District 5 Board of Supervisor who lost his seat in November. That is completely separate and distinct from this particular grant application. They are, like I said, that is phase one. They're looking at expanding that phase with some of this funding as well. Specifically, the pre-development costs that you're discussing, they may not have the funding for some of the pre-development costs, which would require physical needs assessments, appraisals, and preliminary title reports and so forth. So those are kind of the areas, those three areas that I mentioned might not get us to the actual filing of a grant application related to this particular grant.
Who's responsible for coming up with those funds, and approximately how much is that?
Well, as I didn't receive any additional authority other than working with the co-applicant in effectuating an actual grant application, it would be the co-applicant that would need to come up with those funds. The pre-development cost is $62,500, roughly estimated. And then there's capital funding match as well as operating subsidies that are needed.
So basically, they would need to come up with $65,000 in order for us to apply for the grant?
Roughly 62,500, yes.
And if they don't come up with that 62,000, then the grant application is not going to be processed?
They also need to show the granting agency that they also have capital funding match, because there's a match for this particular grant, as well as because the grant guidelines require that this particular programming of services operates 3 years after the grant is completed, that they have to have operating subsidies to show the granting agency that they actually can operate for 3 years after the grant.
So after their funding runs out, they're expected to continue for 3 years with no funding?
Yes.
Not from us, not from the county, not from Homekey?
I've not received any additional authority to spend any city dollars, so it wouldn't be from us. They can go out and find that funding anywhere else, but it wouldn't be part of Homekey. Sorry, it wouldn't be part of the Homekey grant, no.
Okay, and just a couple other questions, and my apologies for going off a little long there earlier. I just get very passionate about this, so thank you, Councilmember Bernard, for putting a pause on that. Brian, just 3 questions here for you, and then I think we'll move on to deliberation. The ARPA funds that were mentioned, I think it's about $4 million. Are those ARPA funds required, or a requirement as part of applying for Homekey, or are those two completely separate from each other?
They would be two completely separate items, because the $4 million came from the county, never discussed with the city, and that's what made the program or the project somewhat appealable, because there's very short time frames as to when this money can be spent too. It's 12 months. So having a first phase already kind of in the ground, it was appealing, because they were already working on something. You did mention to the fact that we potentially had 3 developers that were looking into this long ago. Again, they would have been hard to produce an application that would have met the spending requirements as well. So,
thank you. And then as far as the project itself, I know I don't think there are any official plans or anything. It's very preliminary, but assuming the city does apply and we are awarded the funding, because those are, again, as we've stated, 2 separate things. Just applying does not guarantee getting the funding. Do you have any information as to how many units or how many beds might be built if we do get this funding?
yeah, yes, that would be dependent on the various scenarios that we've discussed with SBX this past week. What ultimate option or scenario is chosen. Because there is a match component to this, we would need to identify what level of funding or assistance that SBX has received to determine how many beds, in essence, would be available. Obviously, scenario A would be the most, right? But then they would need the most in additional funding to help support that match. Scenario B would be somewhere in that in the middle, and then scenario C would be a significantly reduced potentially. But it all comes down to the programming services and so forth of whatever option we choose, or they choose or have funding for. But you're looking at roughly 13 units, yeah, with various beds and baths and square footage.
Okay, thank you. And those 13 units, it wouldn't necessarily, I mean, it theoretically could house maybe just one person, but more than likely each unit would probably house multiple people, right?
Yeah, yes, there would be multiple beds in a unit.
Okay, thank you. And then my last question is just because we as a council already approved the resolution in June, and now potentially it's being rescinded, could we put ourselves as a city in any kind of legal jeopardy or legal issues with maybe the applicants or outside parties if we were to rescind the co-application?
There wouldn't be any on the city's standpoint. There's indemnification clauses on both sides. So, but I'm happy for city attorney to go ahead and chime in as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe if it's like most grant programs, there would be no exposure until the grant was actually approved.
Thank you. So that's all the questions I have. Before we move into deliberation, do any council members have any further questions? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Steve or Brian, whichever you guys choose to explain the special meeting, calling a special meeting.
Yes.
Can you explain that process at this time?
Yes. Currently codified in our policy 101, specifically 1.5.1. That section states that the mayor or a majority of council can call a special meeting. Based on governmental codes that are referenced in that particular municipal code section, a special meeting could be called with just a 24-hour notice. It does not need to be within any particular working hours. It could be any time of day, night. Now, our particular policy or procedures, there is nothing codified in how those three, the majority of council members notify the city clerk in requesting the special meeting. So that currently is not codified. If that's something that council would like to codify, then I would suggest that the policy 101 come back via resolution and be codified so that everyone is aware of the process.
So part B to that question, can this exact same process as it sits now and how this process played out Friday, could it happen again?
It can happen again and again and again until this particular body decides how they would like their policy and procedures and the rules of council effectuate any change in those, yes.
Thank you.
Councilmember Santa Cruz.
So basically, when the mayor said, I have no idea how this meeting came about and I'm not going to let this happen again, it's policy 101, how this comes about, and it will continue to happen because on this dais, the majority makes the rules. Correct?
That is a correct statement, yes.
Okay, so, and also a mayor can call a special meeting, right?
Yes, I did state that it was the mayor or a majority of council can call a special meeting.
Rule 101. Perfect. Thank you.
So to follow up on that, thank you for clarifying what our rules say. It says either a mayor or a majority of the council, but could you elaborate or let us know when the two council members asked for this special council meeting, did they ask for the full council to be notified and asked, or did they only ask for a specific council member to be notified?
So in the morning of Friday, July 7th, I believe it was. I did meet with the two, and they suggested that we reach out and possibly start with a particular council member, yes.
Okay. So they gave you direction to only reach out to one council member. So to your point, which I 100% agree with, because again, my thing is transparency. How do we make this as transparent as possible? And while you only need a majority, I think we definitely need to change that policy to require an official vote to record how every single council member votes, either in favor or not in favor of having a special meeting, so that that's on public record and it's not just a majority. Because another reason why I say that is because of potential Brown Act issues. If there's only 3 council members that are potentially communicating with staff, that could be a Brown Act issue. It's crossing a very thin line. So in order to avoid all of that, avoid any potential issues, it should be the full council that's notified. And again, that's something that we have to change. And I think that it sounds like we're all on board with making that process more transparent and taking that kind of burden off of staff as well. I hate to put staff in those difficult situations. So that's something that we have to bring back at a later time. Councilmember, did you have another question?
Yes. Deliberations, right? So I'm concerned with.
We're still doing questions.
Okay,
Questions.
then I'll go ahead. Oh, wait, until deliberations.
Okay, so if there are no more questions from the council, we will go ahead and move on to deliberation. And would like to just please, if you do have comments, make sure to hit your speaker button here. I'll make sure to call on you in order. Would like to kind of resume where I left off a little earlier, and then would like to hear from my colleagues to get some more information and get their perspective on what's happening here today. So again, I've been trying for years to get to this point. We're 2 weeks away from the deadline to submit this application. A lot of staff time, a lot of inflection point in SBX's time, and even residents. I mean, you all came out on a Sunday to put your time in to show that you care. And I don't want all that to just go into the trash. And what message are we sending as a community to say that we're all on board with it, but then because it's a particular nonprofit that some of us might disagree with or have political differences with, we're going to take it back and we're not going to work with you because of politics. Homelessness, youth, families should be above and are above all that. And we all up here need to put the community before all the politics that continues to taint our local government. This is one of the things that, one of the reasons why I ran for mayor, because I wanted our city to move past all this stuff, to move past all these political games and all this political bickering and back and forth that for years has prevented the city of Moreno Valley from making progress. And we continually find ourselves with black eyes in the news, in the media, for all the wrong reasons. And it's why the city of Moreno Valley, our assembly member, finally secured $1 million in the state budget for us. The city of Paris got $10 million. Why? City of Riverside continually gets way more money than we do. Why? Because the city of Moreno Valley purposely shoots ourselves in the foot time and time again and sends a message to Sacramento that we don't want their help. I'm tired of that because it doesn't hurt me. We can have differences all day long, but you're not hurting me. You're hurting the people of our city. And I'm not going to just stay quiet about that anymore. So I'm going to continue to do everything that I can to make sure that I'm helping our unhoused neighbors. One of the things when I first got elected mayor was scheduling a study session so that we could have a discussion. The community came out, made it very clear what we needed. And then after that, some of my duties were taken away. We'll give one pause here. Mr. Bailiff, if you could please, yeah, let's take a 5-minute recess, please. We're going to take a 5-minute recess at this point.
Mr. Cabrera.
Okay, so we are back from our recess, and I just want to remind everyone to please be respectful, especially folks in the seats. And I'm going to ask the bailiffs to please just keep an eye on members in the public in the back. Folks are mumbling, saying things under their breath, interrupting the rest of the public. So if I have to warn you, the second time I have to point you out, I will ask you to be removed from the chamber to avoid any further disruptions. Okay. So I will try to just get through the rest of my comments here, and then I don't see any other hands raised yet, but other cities in the Inland Empire have applied once or multiple times for Project Home Key and have received Home Key. Cities include the city of Redlands, the city of Riverside, city of Corona, city of San Bernardino, and Lake Elsinore. Those are just a few, to name a few, that have pursued, applied, and received funding from Project Home Key for their cities. We need to do the same. We're the second largest city in the county. We, to this day, have 0 beds for the unhoused in the city of Moreno Valley. Our pit count came back at 77. However, we know that those are unfortunately always an undercount. It doesn't accurately portray the number of homeless folks that we have living in our community. And I, time and time again, have stated publicly how we need to build housing for our homeless. We have to step up to the plate and actually do the work instead of always just talking about it. So since the city doesn't really have our own funding for this, we have to seek external funding sources, and Project Home Key is a perfect opportunity for that. Again, this was already unanimously approved by the council back in June. It doesn't matter which applicant it is, and if anyone has differences with them, the point is we're trying to help the community and trying to help the unhoused, and that's what matters the most. And again, we just need to put politics aside. All of this could have been avoided. We could have moved forward, submitted the application, and hopefully gotten the funding. So I really hope that my colleagues here will see the bigger picture, put the people before politics, put the people before any of these political differences that you might have with an assembly member or a nonprofit organization. We need to do this. We need to just stop playing games and wasting everybody's time. So with that, I'll open the floor to my colleagues here. Next, I have Mayor Pro Tem.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you guys for allowing us to come out on this Sunday. I know it's not what everybody wanted, but it's necessary for me. And I'll tell you why it's necessary. I personally agree that the youth in Moreno Valley could use the help. I personally believe that. There's 3 women in the audience today that I've physically have talked to. She left, but a member of the public calls me and all the time. She's not even in my district. And I run down to the homeless folks in their car and bring them food. I've been to Building Up Lives to help them, to talk to them, to see what they have going on. I've been to the street corners and talked to the organizers of helping the homeless. So that's not it for me. There's 3 people in the audience, that the speakers, that said that it's not about that. And there's not a human being in this room would it ever feel that helping anybody is wrong. That's not why I'm here. And I'm telling you that from me to you. Personally, this is, I don't know what they feel. So that's why I voted for this. That's why it was a unanimous vote, 5-0. Because I saw, okay, I really don't want our city to become a haven like San Francisco or Los Angeles. I don't, but to help, and it's not that big of an impact on our city because it's a grant. That's why I voted for it. Shame on me, and I'm going to be extremely transparent and say I should have looked at the resolution deeper and found out what I saw, SBX. I saw that. I didn't know what it meant. Shame on me for approving it, for that. I take full responsibility for that. I rely on the staff report to just throw everything out there, and then based on the staff report, you make a decision, and a resolution is drafted. That resolution is based on the staff report giving us the information. That's my fault. SBX, Sigma, Beta, Xi. That's where I have an issue, and it's not political. Do I agree with the former CEO of SBX? I do not. I make no bones about that. However, for me, it's protecting the city of Moreno Valley from a potential issue that this organization, and someone in here, a speaker called it a company, from preventing this organization from giving the city of Moreno Valley a black eye. And what I mean by that, yes, Mr. Peden, you're sitting there with your eyebrows raised wondering what that means, is the SBX right now are currently under investigation for. Now, does that mean they're guilty? No. But.
Yeah, let's just keep
Okay.
it down, please.
I am trying to protect the city of Moreno Valley's residents from any issues that we may incur down the road because of the history of the former CEO. So I'm being transparent. Someone asked, it's not political. For me, it's legal, protecting the city of Moreno Valley. So,
Ma'am, please, let's be respectful. Councilmember, I just
okay.
1 second. I just want to make sure we're all respectful here. Mayor Pro Tem has the floor at the moment. I respect all of your opinions, but right now we have to respect those that are speaking. If you could please keep it down and just respect the speaker, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No biggie. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. So I just want to, first and foremost, my bad for not catching that during the vote back in June. My bad, 100%. Second thing is I want everybody to know that if you ever called me to help a homeless person within my means, not necessarily financially or taking money from my family, I'm going to be there. I think we sent somebody to Riverside to get help just recently. So, and the bottom line is whatever our council decides today, I got it. Okay, well then that's what the majority of our council wants. And if it is to continue with the application process or joining in or signing off on that, it is what it is. I accept it. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but I accept it. So that's all I have.
And Mayor Pro Tem, I would just ask as well, because this is the first time hearing about this investigation that you mentioned just a moment ago. Do you mind sharing where you got that information from and elaborating on that? Because
No.
I'm not aware, and if we're going to take a vote and make a decision, and that's what that's the hill you're going to be on,
Well,
I think it's important for all of us to have the full
No,
information.
I am not going to disclose that.
Okay. So you're saying there's an investigation, but you're not willing to share where you got the information from?
Anybody can contact the Riverside County District Attorney's Office and find out. There you go.
Okay. Okay, Councilmember Santa Cruz.
It's the Public Integrity Unit, and the reason they're under investigation is SBX is supposed to be a nonprofit organization, yet they sent mailers through the mail for Mr. Corey Jackson with their logo. Now, that's not allowed, especially if the dates around the campaign. So they are under investigation, and I don't feel that as a public steward of our funding here in Moreno Valley, that we should put our name on a grant application with somebody who we just can't trust. We need to do something about the homeless. Yes, we need to do that. But we need to open up our application process. We need to go after entities who are going to be able to help us. And for you to sit up here and say that we have no beds at all. We are already working with SBX. They have 30 beds. We have Lighthouse. There's over 100 beds available
In the
here
city of Moreno Valley?
for Moreno Valley residents.
Not
and we
in the
do
city.
have agencies. We have people that are working every day with the homeless. I see them all the time out there. We see them on social media, even Building Up Lives. They're out there every day. They are. They're the one on Hemlock, Postal. There's been a lot of agencies that are here in the city and giving $10 million or $1.7 million as a pass-through to SBX, who is doing mentorship programs. And I don't know how we could have a mentor to come over here and say that their parenting styles that are under investigation as well. It's just every time we open up the news and we hear about SBX, it's not a good thing. And for me to see the SBX on our resolution and not the staff report, it was disturbing enough for me to want to call a special meeting. And you know what? I didn't see the resolution that it said SBX. Had I seen that, or had I realized that SBX was the Sigma Beta organization, we wouldn't have had a unanimous vote at the last meeting. But I was wrong. I made a mistake. Now that I know better, I want to do better, and I would like to say no to partnering with SBX. I don't want the city of Moreno Valley to partner with an organization who is not, who has other goals, like political goals. Let's work with somebody who's already working in the community. Let's see what we can do with people who are out there who have, we could go with veterans resources. They do homes for veterans. We could do with Habitat for Humanity. We could do more with Salvation Army. We could do more here in the city, but not with an organization that we can't trust. And it's just not fair.
Okay, Councilmember Bernard.
Okay. Again, thank you everyone for coming out on this lovely Sunday. So I'm just going to go ahead and push aside all that's been said, because this is what it comes down for me. I guess I was raised just a little differently, and that my train of thought is I would rather try and fail than for us to not try at all. I am from a perspective that we have had the study session. We understand that there is a need for housing, and make this no mistake about it. The project is actually in my district. They have already started phase 1. This would be considered phase 2 of the project. But I feel that I will always put people and what's necessary before everything. Do I 100% agree with some of the things that are going on in this room? No. Did I go ahead as a third vote for this special meeting? I did, because even if the mayor had called me and he needed me to vote, I would rather have us have this discussion out loud than for anyone to say I didn't get my due diligence for it to be heard. I wanted to hear what my colleagues said, because I spoke to no one outside of Miss Patty from the city clerk's office and the assistant city manager, Brian. Sure, so we're here on a Sunday. I'm listening to what everyone's saying. I do not in 100% agree with everything regarding the former CEO of SBX. I make no bones about it. I'm not 100% on anyone's side. And both Daniel and Daryl Peden can attest to that, because we have had some conversations that were not pretty. But I will always put what's best for the people in the common good over anything that's personal. There is no harm, as far as I'm concerned, in us going forward with this application. I knew when it came up that inflection was SBX. I knew that they were linked together. It had nothing to do with what was and was not in the resolution. And I knew that because they had this project already going in my district. And so I did my due diligence on that part. Maybe I'm wrong for assuming that everybody else knew, but the process was transparent. I've had the assistant city manager explain how we went through the process. It is a very transparent process. If for whatever reason they don't provide whatever the funding source is to show to even do the application, then application stops, no harm, no foul. We get the money, okay, fine. There's nothing wrong with this. We have never received home key funds. The money has just been sitting out there. We are constantly being told you are not part of the Big 13. Riverside City gets everything. They have just opened their LGBTQ housing. They already have their housing. At some point, we have got to get to a point where, and you're right, Brian is completely correct. Because of that time pit count that says that we have 77, we're always falling short. And this is our chance to see if we can get over that hump and do what's right. This is not about just housing youth. This is about providing supportive housing, not just placing people in housing, which is what they've been doing, right? They've been fast housing, putting them in motels and hotels, spending the money. This is providing them support so that we can get them to long-term so that they can permanently be able to succeed on their own. And at some point in this community, I wish we as a city council can get to a point where, one, we're not always into this, and two, we make sure that we're doing exactly what we said we were going to do. And yes, we can still work with all these other groups. Building up lives, Miss Stewart Cleveland is always saying she needs a little bit more help, a little bit more of this. Then maybe we do need to sit down and figure out what is it exactly that she's missing so that when these things come up again, she's able to apply. This is not one person over the other. This was a transparent process, and the application that was accepted is the one that is moving forward. Now, while everyone may not agree, including people out there, the point is there are homeless people that live in this community that are not counted by a pit count because they are in their cars. And we have got to figure something out. I am consistently getting calls about people being parked at the parks too long, asking for people to move their stuff. They are parked behind every place you can think of. And I'm sorry, this today is I've heard everyone, I've heard from all my council members, and I'm always going to say, at least we tried and failed than to not try at all. Because that's exactly what we expect of our children. That's exactly what we expect of anyone, to at least attempt and fail, but at least we can say we tried. And I don't want to miss out on this deadline that's coming up. If they don't provide it, then fine, we don't get it. It's only $10 million that we're asking for of $736 million. We're not even discussing what Riverside, San Bernardino has gotten, heck, LA, and the money they've thrown away in the last few months. But it's our turn to finally get something. And it's already ready to go of where it needs to be.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Appreciate your comments and agree with you wholeheartedly there. So if there are no further comments at this time, I will make a motion that we do not rescind the application and that we continue with submitting that application and working with Inflection Point as we previously approved. I'm seeking a second on that as well.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Please vote. And I see Councilmember Marquez's screen is requesting a vote here. Should we just do a voice vote? Is that easier? Yeah, okay.
That's fine. Councilmember Baca, Santa Cruz?
I think they want clarification. Can you clarify the yes vote and the no vote?
Okay, the yes vote would be that you would agree with the mayor's position, his motion. And the no vote would be that you're against his position. Is that correct?
Yes, so for further clarification, let me simplify it. My motion is to continue with the application, submit the application, and work with Inflection Point as we previously approved.
No.
Basically to maintain the status quo.
Correct.
Councilmember Bernard? Mayor Pro Tem Delgado?
No.
And Mayor Cabrera?
Yes. And so that motion is a tie, 2-2. So at this time, essentially
quo
the
stays.
motion dies and we default to the previous approval in June.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. If there are no further comments from the council, we will go ahead and conclude our business. Do we?
For clarification, the motion died. Do we still vote on the original resolution? I just want to make sure.
The original resolution stands.
Yeah, we don't need to take any further action.
I want to make sure.
No?
Okay. Okay. So at this time, we will go ahead and conclude our business today, and we will adjourn our council meeting at 2:16 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.